This is the plaintiff, Walter Roach. He says the defendant is his girlfriend's ex-husband, and the guy owes him for a log splitter he refuses to pay him for. He has no idea what the defendant's trying to do by stiffing him on the $600 he owes him, so he's suing. This is the defendant, Jeff Griggs. He says he already paid the plaintiff for the log splitter. In fact, he paid him the very day he took it from the plaintiff's yard sale. The plaintiff's just upset because he sold the log splitter to someone for $800 and made a profit. Sorry, Charlie. He's accused of making his ex-wife's boyfriend angry.
All parties, please raise your right hands. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Roach, tell me about this log splitter. What's a log splitter?
It's when you cut your wood and you cut the tree down and you put it on the splitter and then just split it in half to make it smaller to get in the fireplace.
And how big is a log splitter?
It's about 7 feet tall. It just has a ram that goes through it, the middle of the log, and it splits it. And it's run by gasoline.
Okay. All right. So you had a log splitter in your possession back in the summer of 2019. And what was it you were doing? You were clearing out a home that your mother had lived in for the last 50 years?
Yeah, we purchased the property in 1963, 64 acres. And she passed away from Alzheimer's. And so I had to clear the house out, so I had to sell everything, and it was just too much. So Gina asked Jeff to come over and help us out, and I paid him, in goods or whatever he wanted, and even gas. He had come over and asked for $15 for gas money. I mean, this gets get crazy. I just want my money.
Why are you calling your girlfriend's ex anyway? Like, how is it that you guys talk to each other and have a relationship?
No, I didn't call them. They were talking back and forth. Her grandson lives with him, so just so we can see him, he comes over and spend the summer. Okay.
So tell me about the log splitter. How did it turn out that he ended up taking the log splitter?
Well, he asked me he could sell it. And I was just overbearing with everything else that's going around here. And I said, fine. I finally broke down because I said, I don't feel like getting burned again. And lo and behold, I get burned again. So I was like, I gave him a lot. And I actually saw it on Facebook. I was like, oh, okay, but where's my money? And he goes, well, okay. I gave you money. Crap. He gave me jack.
Did he buy anything that day when you were getting rid of all the stuff?
No. He didn't come for the yard sale. He came to cut some bushes out. Had some stumps in the front yard. And we gave him some goods from the yard sale to compensate. So
Mr. Griggs, what is your position here? Mr. Griggs, what is your position here that you bought the log splitter from him?
Yes, ma'am. The deal was he hired me to work for him for a week to clear the scrap and stuff and take the scrap to the scrap yard. And I did. And we split the money. I had a tree job lined up that paid $700. I did the tree job. I went over and seen him that morning, paid him the money for the log splitter. I took the tire off the log splitter the week before to get it fixed because it was flat. And I told him I'd give him $500 for it. I took the tire home the week before. I come back the following week with the money and the tire. We put the tire on the log splitter and loaded it. Me, Dominic, and my buddy Steve. And I paid him. He left to go to town.
He who, Mr. Roach?
Walter Roach. After I had paid him,
Who'd you give the $500 to, Mr. Roach?
Yes, ma'am. I give Walter the $500.
Did you get a receipt?
No, ma'am, I did not. That's my mistake. When we come back up to the house after loading the log splitter, I asked Gina, my ex-wife, I said, where's Walter? She says, well, he's out of beer. He went to town. He'll be back. And we didn't wait for him to come back. We left.
So in your answer to the complaint, you said you sat around and had a beer with him. What happened to that?
We sat a beer with my ex-wife. He wasn't home. He had left.
Let me hear from Dominic. Is Dominic here to testify?
Yes, ma'am. Hold on.
Hi.
Okay, Dominic, can you raise your right hand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, so now I need to ask you some questions. Were you there when the yard sale happened, or did you go with your grandfather a different day?
I was there that week helping Walter sell stuff for the yard sale.
Okay.
And after that.
Go ahead. What do you know about about the log splitter? That's what I'm interested in.
Okay, so the log splitter. Okay, so the week before he did take the tire and we did fix it. Then the following week we went back. We paid him for the log splitter. It was $500. And then after that we took the log splitter. And about 5 months later, and we're here now.
Okay. And did you witness your grandfather giving him $500?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And where'd that $500 come from?
A tree job in Newton Falls that we had done.
Okay. And what time of the day was it when he gave, according to you, Walter, the $500? Do you remember?
A little bit after noon.
Okay. And was anybody else present besides you and your grandfather and Walter?
Steve Bullock. That's him right next to me.
Okay. And then was your grandmother present?
Yes, ma'am.
So did your grandmother see the money come into to Walter's hands?
I believe so. Because she was there.
Okay. She was there. And where did this take place? Inside the house or outside the house?
Outside on the front porch, or the side porch.
Okay. And how was the money given? And what kind of denominations?
20s. It was 20s.
Okay. Who counted it out?
Walter. And before that, my grandfather.
Okay. Can I hear from Steve?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What do you know about this? You can put your hand down.
I was there the day we did the tree job together, and then I went with him to help him load it. I watched him hand Walter the money, and he left, and we loaded the log splitter, and then we left.
Okay. Do you remember whether the grandmother was present when that happened?
Yes, she was there.
She was there? Why do you suppose neither of them remember this?
I don't really know them, so I don't know. But I've only ever heard rumors about them. So
Meaning?
I really couldn't speculate that he had a drinking problem, and so did she.
Okay. And did you actually witness the money changing hands?
Yep. Yes, I did.
And did anybody count it?
Yeah, he did. Walter.
Walter counted it? And had Mr. Griggs counted it too, or not really? He'd already counted.
Oh, yeah.
Did you witness Mr. Griggs?
I watched him count it because he had to pay me my cut out of the original check from the tree job. So I watched him count it like 2 times before we even got there to make sure it was right.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. And Mr. Roach, did you want to call your girlfriend to the stand?
Oh, yeah. Time for you.
All right. So raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, your grandson says that he witnessed Mr. Griggs, your ex, count out the money and pay Mr. Roach on the porch. He thinks that you might have been present too when that happened, and so does the other witness. So there's 3 people on the other side saying that the money was counted out and given to Mr. Roach.
Okay, in the beginning, we had Jeff come to help us clear out the scrap and everything. His pay was to be half of the scrap that his truck carried in. It was our scrap, his truck, and his trailer. We were being very fair as we could be. There was things he took that he did not pay for. There was things he asked me for, I gave him. There's been too much of this. And he knows that he had Dominic running here in the yard, running there in the yard. I was in and out the door dealing with his mom.
Okay.
And I never saw nobody hand except for it was little items that he had tallied up to a certain amount. And he'd come over and pay a little bit out of each each time he showed up.
Well, they're saying that he paid that he came back not on the day of the yard sale, a different day, and handed over $500 to Walter on the porch.
I did.
No, he did not, in my eyes. No, he did not.
Do you consider your grandson an honest kid? Or do you think your grandson would lie for his grandpa?
Very polite. Very polite. He lives there. I don't know.
No, he wouldn't lie for me.
Well, you would know. Would your
I
grandson?
know the way his son is, the way he raised his son.
being, is that your son as well?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
He taught him to lie, taught him to steal. Yeah, you did. That's why he went to jail for you. He went to jail for you because you are a liar and a user.
How did your son go to jail for him? Explain that to me.
Because they got caught. He talked his son into stealing this lift, this tree lift, and it lifts them way up in the sky so they can do the top of the trees. Well, he talked him into stealing it. Well, they got caught. Well, guess who threw his son under the bus so his punishment would be lighter? His father.
How long did your son serve?
I'm not for sure. He knows. Over 3 months, I do know.
What's she talking about, Mr. Griggs?
Well, there was a lift stolen, but my son had called me that morning, and I went to jail for it, too. He didn't just go to jail for that. We both served our time.
You got off lighter because you turned him in.
I didn't turn him in.
Okay.
Ask your son.
You should have stood up for him. You involved him in it. You taught him it. You should have covered him.
Okay, well, that's an entirely different story. I have in front of me, you can go ahead and, can you switch back with Mr. Roach and give him back the...
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Pleasure meeting you.
Mr. Roach, you heard the testimony of both your grandchild, her grandchild, and the witness, Steve, who's somebody who helped with the trees. Did you want to respond to that in any way?
Nothing else to say. I mean, it is what it is. It's the principle about it. It's not even the money. I mean, $500 is a lot of money to just forget about. Furthermore, I don't go over nobody's house and ask for gas money. I mean, if you don't have gas money, don't go home. Don't leave your house.
Right, but Mr. Roach, what I'm referring to is the fact, the grandson, okay, is he a truthful person in your opinion?
I think he is. Yeah.
Okay, because he testifies that he saw him count out the $500 and give it to you. That's what the young man says.
Well, he lives with him, so he has to deal with him every day.
Well, that's why I asked you that. Do you think he's a liar who would lie for him because he lives with him, or do you think he's a truthful person? You said you thought he was a truthful person.
I wouldn't say anything bad about Damo. Damo's a good kid.
Okay.
And I love him. I just don't want him to be punished for,
He's not getting punished.
He's going to do what he got to do.
All right. Listen, normally when someone doesn't have a receipt, it's a really, really tough road to climb. But even though this may be close, it's not that close. And I find that the testimony of the grandson and Steve is going to kind of carry the day here. And I am finding that this was paid for and verdict for the defendant. Good luck, folks.
Thank you, Your Honor. You have a good day.
You know you're wrong, man.
No, I paid you, buddy. Honest. I swear to the good Lord on my life. And it ain't that bad
man,
here.
come on now. You don't forget about, if you put $500 in my hand, I ain't gonna forget $500.
Why would
maybe
you wait
$5 or
6
$10
months later to call me?
Blow it off. $500. Come on now.
Well, as you just seen, the dispute continues between the litigants here. The plaintiff has failed because the witnesses against him really convinced the judge. Mr. Roach, let me ask you what you're thinking right now. How do you feel about this?
I'm disappointed. I mean, but it's not even the money; it's the principle of the fact. Man to man, when I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. If I can't do it, then I'm not going to do it.
Mr. Griggs, obviously you still contend you did give him the money and you're in the right, correct?
Sir. Yes, sir. Honestly, I did. Okay. And I don't know why they think it's so bad. I'm such a mean person because I'm not. I told her, if you show me the receipt that I paid you, I'll give you the $500. But they never did because he didn't mark it down. He was too worried about going to the store for whatever. I don't know what he went for.
Listen, having those witnesses was the good thing for you. That saved your case.
Yes, sir.
It did. So
Yes, sir.
congratulations. Okay. All right, that'll do it for this case. Harvey, fascinating case. What do you think?
Doug, what I like about this case, what I think is really instructive, is how important witnesses can be. That a lot of times you don't have proof positive of who's right, who's wrong, who's telling the truth, and who's lying. But when you have witnesses where the judge can look that witness in the eye and evaluate that witness's credibility, it makes a huge difference if the witness seems credible. And that is exactly what happened here.
Okay, so the question is, name one vice. Is golf a vice? I think
golf is a virtue.
No, golf is a vice.
All of my vices are virtues. Let's see, golf, pinball, cars. Aren't those all virtuous things? I mean, come on. How can those be vices if it feels that good, right?
That's kind of the definition of a vice, isn't it?